Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Nana Gyesie, transformational coach here at Nana Gyesie, where we help folks overcome limiting self-beliefs and trauma to live their best resonant life right here, right now. In this transformative discussion, we're going to be talking about one of the most critical and often invisible battles we face, which is the battle for the mind. The battle for the mind. And we're going to talk about how narcissistic abuse isn't merely about emotional pain or relational dysfunction. It's about control, domination, and distortion of your most sacred resource, your mind. This battle is deeply personal, yet it's also universal. It's a war fought not just in relationships, but echoed in politics, philosophy, and even science. The purpose, or at the end of this video, you will understand how narcissists target and manipulate the mind, explore parallels in history, society, and even existential philosophy that reveal that this is real and very pervasive, and provide guidance for empaths towards recognizing this dynamic and reclaiming the mind and stepping into true purpose. So what do we mean by the mind as the ultimate battleground? From a philosophical standpoint, the mind is the seat of consciousness, identity, and agency. In fact, one of my favorite philosophers, Jean-Paul Sartre, described it as a space where freedom is contested. While Carl Jung, a Swiss therapist, referred to it as the container of our conscious and unconscious realities. Now, we know that neuroplasticity, which is the ability for the brain to imbibe new information and expand the mind, reveals that the brain structure changes based on repeated experiences. And narcissists exploit this, maybe unconsciously, by embedding patterns of fear, doubt, and control. So how do narcissists target the mind? Well, they first use the control of perception as one, which is to gaslight you, using it as a weapon to distort your sense of reality. For example, when you catch a narcissist lie, they might respond with something like, "You're being too sensitive." "Oh, that never happened." This forces you to doubt your intuition and external reality, you see? There's also the infiltration of beliefs, where narcissists implant limiting beliefs such as "you're not good enough," or "are you sure you want to do that," or "no one ever loved you." And these beliefs take root, influencing your own self-worth and decisions. That's how it happens. And there's also the manipulation of attention. By keeping you focused on their needs and approval, they prevent you from exploring your own thoughts, dreams, or goals. It's a systematic process of self-erasure, if you may. Now, if you look at it from a historical perspective, in the great Sun Tzu's The Art of War, it says, he said, all warfare is based on deception. And narcissists deploy psychological warfare to weaken your defenses. And then when you think about it from an existential perspective, Jean-Paul Sartre's idea that humans are condemned to freedom means we must choose who we become. And the narcissists attempt to remove this freedom by shaping our choices for their benefit. And by our, I mean an empath's choices for their benefit. And then also from a spiritual and religious standpoint, many traditions speak of a battle between light and darkness, good and evil. And narcissistic abuse reflects this duality. It's a spiritual test as much as it is a psychological one. So when you think about narcissistic abuse in the context of larger battles, well, let's look at it in the context of, let's say, politics and society. So we know that there's mind control and propaganda. Just as regimes manipulate entire populations, an example I use would be North Korea for one, narcissists use similar tactics on a smaller scale. For example, the love bombing phase mirrors political campaigns that promise the world only to deliver control. Then there's the cult dynamic. So narcissistic relationships function like cults. They isolate you, they create dependency and control your thinking. And love bombing devaluation, and discarding are mirrored in how cult leaders manipulate their followers. So, going back to existential philosophy, we think about Friedrich Nietzsche's will to power. Narcissists seek to dominate others as a way to compensate for their own inner emptiness. They thrive by consuming the agency of others. Even in the face of oppression, we have the power to reclaim our meaning. And Viktor Frankl shows us this. And narcissistic abuse can catalyze this realization if we choose to resist the control of the narcissist. Now, when you look into the neuropsychology of abuse, chronic manipulation triggers the amygdala, the brain's fear center, keeping you in a constant fight or flight mode. That creates anxiety, depression, and this reduces your cognitive clarity and makes you more susceptible to further abuse. And then, from a behavioral condition standpoint, narcissists exploit the rewards pathways by alienating between love and punishment, creating an addictive cycle similar to substance dependence. And this is where the trauma bond gets created. So we know this now, and I want to think about this in the context of the empath's awakeness. So the first step is to recognize the battle. Awareness is the first step, and the moment you realize this isn't love, this is control, that's when the ship begins to turn. That's the turning point. And then when you reflect on patterns, why do you feel drained, confused, or constantly seeking validation? And when you come to this point of really asking questions, you're ready to reclaim your mind. And some things that can help really with reclaiming the mind include daily meditation to ground yourself and observe your thoughts without judgment. This is something that we practice and can fully recommend it. And then working with coaches or therapists like myself. And if I can be of help to you, type transform in the comment section. You want to find coaches, therapists, and other mental health professionals who are adept at interventions that can help you, such as internal family systems or cognitive behavior therapy, which I like. But in some cases where relevant, have been to the experiences themselves. Not only do they have the training, but have the context as well. Then it's not necessary, but it makes a big difference. Because when you think about what you've been through, it's very akin to the hero's journey framework, which starts with the call to adventure, recognizing the abuse as a challenge to your growth, crossing the threshold, which is leaving the relationship and setting boundaries, and then returning with elixir, which is emerging stronger, wiser, and with a renewed sense of purpose. So how does this battle act as a catalyst for transformation? Well, there's no coming to consciousness without pain, Carl Jung famously said. And narcissistic abuse forces us to confront our deepest wounds and blind spots. The empath's gift lies in transmuting pain into wisdom and compassion, alignment to true purpose. And in this place, healing, including things like healing the inner child work, helps to resolve childhood wounds. And healing these wounds is foundational, since most of these wounds started from 0 to 7 or 7 to 14, depending on what your context is. And ultimately, this enables you to step into your role as a light worker. And as you heal, this is because as you heal, you naturally inspire and guide others. This is your true purpose as an empath. And I speak about this from personal experience to encourage you. So, what are the implications for the battle of the mind? As more empaths awaken, society at large begins to shift more towards authenticity and compassion. So example includes leaders like Nelson Mandela, Dr. Maya Angelou. These are people who transformed great personal suffering into global impact. They could have been forgotten whilst they were suffering, but they became global because they tapped within. So the ripple effect is to realize that healing isn't selfish. It's the first step toward healing your family, families, communities, and even workplaces and societies at large. This is how it works. And you've been through this journey for a specific reason. So we know that the narcissist's ultimate goal is to control your mind. And when you recognize this, it's the first step toward freedom. It's also recognize that transformation is not just possible, it's inevitable when you choose to reclaim your power. So what I want to implore you to do is recognize that your mind is your most sacred territory. Guard it fiercely, nurture it lovingly, and let no one rob you of your power. Really. And if you're ready to start this journey, Inner Minded Coaching is here to work with you and help you and guide you. It's important that you realize that you're not alone, and that the experiences you've had have enabled you to surround yourself with a radiant light surrounding your mind, shielding it from harm and illuminating your path forward. Know that by healing, you've reclaimed your mind and reclaimed your power. Recognize there's no one like you as you step into your purpose. Peace.